Hello YouTube, I am Matt. Welcome to another episode of A Feather and Inkwell. Welcome back YouTube, I'm Matt. This is another Feather and Inkwell fountain pen review and more inkwells. So we've got a whole number of things today. Today we have a Dominant Industries and Pen Chalet combo box made specifically for their latest release. Let's review what was in it. FYI, I couldn't wait. I've already opened it, but that's how much came with it, quite a bit. Join me at the table. Welcome back once again to my writing table. Today is kind of an overall review of Dominant Industries. I'm going to start off with a little review of their history. So they started off in 2021, so they're a really new company. South Korean, great, vibrant, new fountain pen ink company inspired by intent with dipping pens and drawing on silk screening kind of techniques that they use to make their ink. They strive for, and this is a quote from them, light and a bottle techniques and colors. So trying to achieve natural appearing colors using different reflective or transparent pigments. So that's a lot. So a lot of their stuff, they're just trying to mimic nature, and that's really the root of what all their colors seek. And you'll notice like some of the stuff here today, it's natural colors, it's blues, it's browns, it's, you know, even some of their more advanced stuff, it's also browns or this or that. They'll have different reflectives, so they have some shimmering inks. They have some more transparent ones, so it's a little bit more watered down, but it has unique attributes to it. All these things add up to what is currently a very well-known and very prominent ink company that is fairly new. Lots of people have them. Lots of people love them. They have this kind of elixir look to their bottles. This is a glass bottle. Looks very cool. Love it. I'm very much into the elixir theme right now. There's several other companies that I like that have such types of looking bottles, but this is another one, and this is what I'm featuring today. So let's go over some of their classifications of ink. So they have standard inks, that's just plain old ink. They have pearl, which has some amount of shimmer to it. They have mirror, so that's some amount of reflective nature to it. And then there's hologram, so if you remember kind of like what trading cards look like, where it has kind of like a rainbow effect in it. I don't have any, well, I guess maybe one ink I have kind of has that kind of hologram effect to it. Unknown, because it's a special edition. So I think they have at least some others that have some degree of like the rainbow, like reflective color within it, and that would be the hologram effect. So they had an offering. It was very exclusive to the Pen Chalet. Shout out to them. I ordered it. That was the box you saw, the Pen Chalet X Dominant Industry combo box, which includes right here, Goya pen. Pardon if I mispronounced it. It's an Italian pen company, my first ever Italian pen in a torpedo shape. Love it. It's very heavy, but very solid pen. There were very few of them, but many places have everything but this pen separately for a reasonable price, which is why I still heavily am for pretty much everything Dominant Industry has released around this. As far as what this is, like I said, this is a Goya fountain pen. It is acrylic, and it is weighing in at 32 grams capped, 21.5 uncapped. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is a heavy acrylic pen. It does have a piston in it, but I really don't feel like, I don't know, it's just really thick. Maybe it has some other parts in it. I'm not sure. It's very substantial in the hand. It has an ink window that you could see when the cap is closed, so you already know if your pen is full. Clever on them. length of it. So we have 5 5/8 uncapped or 6 1/4 capped. So it is a very long pen, but it is a type of pen length that I prefer, a little bit longer for my larger hands. Like I said, it's an Italian pen. It is a piston filler, so you don't have to worry about vacuuming. However, I do note, because that it has such a large ink capacity, that you do have to try to carefully get the air bubble on the upside and push out as much air as you can. So other people have done this, and you action the piston back out until you start to get ink all the way to the nib. And once you get the air out and you start getting little ink bubbles up in here, then you know that you can dip it back in a bottle and start inking it again, and you'll have a very complete fill. That's just a little tip. Some people other than me have discovered this a long time ago, but just a tip in case you have one of these and you've noticed just continuously pistoning in and out doesn't quite get you a full fill. That is how you achieve a full fill with this pen. Now this set is called the Log of Elixir Volume 2, which the Log of Elixir primarily is this book in reference. However, it did come out with 2 corresponding inks. The first one is the Unknown Land. That is in this bottle right here. Unknown Land. And just for the reference, there it says it is a standard ink, 25 milliliters. Now, what does it look like? I'll get to that in just a second. The other is this Allegory ink, which is kind of like a darker blue. It kind of reminds you of water when you have it on a page. I'll show you that as well. And it also, for the reference, is standard right there. So these are nothing special, but they do look really good on a page. It's a good start to a good series of inks. I hope they continue it further with many more colors. Some of their other previous offerings, the Atlantis offering, they've become pretty hard to find. They're kind of limited. You kind of got to get in on it while it's there, and then they're vanished. Like, they sell out. Everybody loves it. Kind of to go with this, I don't know if they had it before. It looked like it kind of came out with this set specifically, is what people call these days is a muddler, which is just another short glass dipping pen. And it's a good way to test ink on a page and not have to fill a whole pen. You can clean the nib very easily. Usually either one side or the very tip is very, very smooth because it's glass. In this case, closer to the very tip of the glass tip is its smoothest portion. You want to have it almost vertical. And the other beneficial part to this is right here. So this little glass thing on the end, once you dip it in ink, it allows you to smudge it across a page nice and evenly. Many people currently just have paint brushes, and that's a pretty good method too, but just as, you know, an extra something that people are getting into right now, these muddlers, short glass pens with that little flat end on the end of it, really helps for your ink swatching. And that is pretty much the purpose of these Log of Elixirs or Log of Atlantis or whatever like that. They're ink swatching books that let you display in a way and recall what these colors look like without, you know, a giant ring of kind of like index cards. Getting down to the book, previous books that they have made like this were 100 GSM paper. Now my favorite Rhodia is in the 80s. Lectern paper, 1917, German. That's in the 90s, I believe. So still not quite there. This is pretty thick paper, ladies and gentlemen, what's in this book. And it is sealed paper. It is super slick, super smooth, handles ink to the ultimate extent, so nothing is going to bleed through. It's not even going to ghost that much. Once you put, you know, one page on top of the next, you won't be able to see it through that page. So it is harder to find the stats on this exact paper and what's in it. Like I said, I had to go back and find it for a previous book. Like I said, the box that this came in, it was even a pretty, you know, high-end box, had a magnetic closure. Very cool set. All came together. This was a separate offering, but some of the pictures that you'll find for Dominant Industries and this set include pictures with their muddler, which we love. So all that aside, we have 2 inks, the book, and this pen. The pen, as you could see, has swirls of blue and brown throughout. And let's get a look at that nib again. Rose gold, just like that, matching the clip and the rings. So all around, appointments match with the nib, rose gold with these colors, very beautiful. The nib is ultra smooth to the point that it has baby's bottom a little bit. So because I have a few pens now that have baby's bottom, I've actually ordered the micro mesh squares to get that out. And just because I wanted to see if it would write any better, my typical paper I write on is Rhodia. And if you are one into lectern paper, it is a little bit coarser and it does pick up even a nib with baby's bottom on it. This pen wrote well on the lectern paper, but I'm still going to micro mesh it out and get a little bit toothier. That way it will write on anything. Moving forward to the actual book and what today's inks and everything else look like. So here's the opening cover. 100 GSM paper. Here's a little sample of what that brown looks like, Unknown Land. Changing over to the very first set. Now this, starting with, is an empty page. Empty lines, etc. You could see I've done a little bit of handiwork here for you all. Couldn't help it. I needed to review to know what this paper felt like ahead of time. I couldn't resist before the review. So Unknown Land up here is coming out a nice even kind of mocha brown, and it does shade a little bit on the darker areas. It writes rather nice, and it's not feathering on this paper at all. Other paper I've written with it on as well, same thing, it doesn't feather. The Allegory is a dark blue, reminiscent of maybe an ocean blue, but with none of these have any shimmer at all. Here's a sample of what the pen wrote like on this paper. Very nice. Also with the Unknown Land, that was our first decision to fill it up with. We have the Harbor of Deep, pardon, I didn't bother to research how to say that. That was another ink I decided to use. Many of my friends that also are into fountain pens love this ink, and I'm sharing it with them soon. And here we have it on here. I'll hold it up so the colors come out a little bit better for y'all. And it really stands out on the page, even separate from Unknown Land. But you could see you have some coloring area representing the book in my hand here. You have some writing area up here. You have some other area where I've tested out some other inks just to see how the paper handled the other ink, shading and sheening. You could see definitely handles everything quite well. And just now knowing all that's on there, you really don't see any ghosting. Nothing bled through on that very first title page. And this is the back of that page with all that ink on it. Likewise, a little sample to the second page going forward. You could see a little bit of ghosting with that much light on it, but you could easily write on this page here, no problem. And there's plenty of ink on the other side of that page from coloring. So this paper handles quite well. And you have plenty of area to color in and fill and have fun, relax. That really what this book is intended for. It's an adult coloring book, as fountain pens have been deemed the adult crayons. And I gotta say, at first I was a little bit skeptical, but I wasn't really into the whole color swatches on a ring thing. It just seemed kind of inconvenient, having to flip through all of them to find the color you want. I like the idea of this book. and I liked it more once I got it. And now that I've used it for a couple colors, I love it even more. If you're looking for a place to have all of your color swatches kind of in one area, this is a very premium hardback journal type book to put all of your swatches in, and I love it. The inks that came out with this set are absolutely a great start. They're standard. I can't wait to see some of their others. I hope they come out with some more pearl, some more hologram, etc. I love all of it. Some of my other previous favorite inks. So shout out to one of my pen shops here in Florida, Anemoia Mercantile. Here's one of their stickers for their shop, kind of their main logo. They're a little bit kind of gothic themed, but very cool. They did manage to come out with Anemoia Borealis, which is their own custom ink that Dominant Industry co-branded with them. And we started off seeing it at the show, like our Central Florida Fountain Pen show. We bought some of their ink for the first time there, and since then we've bought many bottles of this. Now, there's what makes their ink really cool looking. This is a space themed one, like the Aurora Borealis. It looks very cool on a page. I will have that on a future video of this swatch book. Probably be a mini series of what I'm swatching up next, what it looks like on the paper. Always whatever is released Dominant Industry. So that's one more. Like I said, I'm very into this ink right here. Let me see if I can get it in focus. Right there. Harbor of Deep, Harbor of Deep, which however you pronounce it. Anyone that knows, feel free to tell me. That is how much shimmer is in it. A lot. An intensive amount. It has gold. It has a very light pale pink. It has silver. Look at that. That is beautiful. This is Painter Series. I think this may be classified as Pearl. Yeah, this is the Pearl Series, but specifically Painter Series is what this was named in terms of series of inks that they've released. But this is a Pearl classification of ink, and you can see just exactly why. It really swirls in there. It's amazing. Before you fill up with this to have the ultimate extent, really shake it upside down, left, right, all around. Make sure that seal is on tight because you don't want it going anywhere. And this is an amazing looking ink on paper. Right in here, really where I put it, there it shines for you. So that's a great example of what some of their shinier inks look like. Really stands out on the page. Really love it. You could really see it standing out on the page against everything. So just a quick example of some of their different grades of ink, what it looks like, and some of what they've come out with. This specific pen came out just for this set. So I really love the quality and the feel of the Goya pen. It's an Italian pen, my first one. I wasn't disappointed. It is super smooth, even though it has baby's bottom. I'm going to rate it at like a 9 out of 10 overall because the weight and the heft and the feel of it and how smooth it is. I can't really fault them for having too smooth a nib. Like, if I wrote on anything that wasn't like the world's smoothest paper, it does catch on paper fine. But I'm going to get, like I said, I've got the micro mesh coming in. I'll do a re-review of the pen on my Rhodia paper, and it writes beautifully. It has good flow in it. Like I said, it's one of my optimal lengths, so it fits in my hand very well. Overall, this is going to be one of my main staple pens that I write with all around. Let me know, guys, if you have any of these. If you got the new Unknown Land, if you got the Allegory, were you lucky enough to buy one of the exclusive Pen Chalet sets? Do you have this pen? What did you get it in? Did you get an extra fine, broad? Tell me, what did you get? Did you get a muddler with it all like I did? I can't think of a better set. See you later, guys.